Have you ever wanted to get back into Pokemon but figured there was so much time that you missed where everything could be overwhelming? Well, unfortunately, Game Freak, aka the Pokemon Company, does not really explain all the new changes for the beginners. Or the, not beginners, but for the returning fans. So here we're going to go over some of the basics of what has changed since probably the last time you've played Pokemon. And it's very simple once you can understand what each thing is. So I got 6 Pokemon here that'll help us figure it out. So the first thing is what Pokemon statistics are, right? So the Pokemon statistics can be broken down into, what is it? It's just several analytics, right? So you got their type, their held item, their moves, and their statistics. Now, in the current generation we are in, which is the Scarlet and Violet generation, also known as Gen 9, there's a 5th statistic that the game actually explains pretty well, called Terra type. We're not going to go over the Terra type. So we're going to go over it by what types are, then we're going to go over statistics, moves, and then the held item. So here we have Pikachu. That is the electric type. Now, types are important because if we look here, it tells us what electric can be super effective against, what is super effective against it, and in a few instances, what can electric types not hit. So, for example, Pikachu is super effective against water types, and it is super effective against flying types. It is not very effective on electric. It is not very effective on grass. It is not very effective on dragon. And electric cannot attack ground types. So, as we can see, like here, Pokemon can be a variety of type combinations. So Pikachu is the pure electric type. So that is how types essentially determine the battle based on if Pikachu is fighting a water type, if Pikachu is fighting a flying type. Pikachu has the upper advantage. But types alone don't determine the battle. The statistics and the moves do. There's also another thing, I also forgot that there's there's another statistic to go over, and that's abilities, but that's a very short chapter. So if we look at the base stats, which is where you see HP, which stands for hit points or health points, attack, defense, speed, special defense, and special attack. Health points is very easy to understand. It's how much health a Pokemon has. Attack and defense and special attack, special defense will go hand in hand for battle. So if Pikachu was to use let's go over what attack and special attack is. Attack is from physical contact moves, while special attack is from long range moves. And if you use a physical move, it's going to use the opponent's defense stat. And if you use the long range move, it's going to use the opponent's special defense stat. Speed determines who goes first in the battle. If you have higher speed, you're going to go first. If you have lower speed, you're going to go later. So now let's go into Pokemon moves. So we're just going to look at these moves. So we see Thunder Shock is... I think we've seen Pikachu enough. Let's look at Spite Ops. So Spite Ops is a bug type, and you can look at the chart what bug is super effective against and what cannot, and what bug cannot do well against. And you see the base stats have, the stats have changed dramatically. So even though, well, Pikachu's not faster yet, but if we were to level up Pikachu, in fact, let's do that real quick just to get a better idea. Ignore the inventory. I'll use that as another move example. No, I don't want that move. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good example. No, we're done with moves now. I think this will be good enough to get an idea. Actually, let's use this one. Okay, so again, just looking at, as we can see, Pikachu will go faster, but if Spite Ops attacks, Pikachu's not taking the hit well compared to the damage they can do to each other. So this battle is either side's win. Now another thing with statistics, like with the stats, is like you see the red arrow for attack and the down arrow for defense for Pikachu. And for Spite Ops, you see the red arrow for defense and the blue arrow for special attack. So what that is called a nature, which when you level up a Pokemon's statistics are going to go a little bit higher. But if you have the blue arrow, that stat is not going to grow as much. Whereas the red stat is going to grow even bigger. So Spite Ops is strong, is more natured stat. It's going to be in defense, while Pikachu is more prone to use physical attack. And the blue arrow is where Pikachu's not going to take the physical attacks as well, whereas Spite Ops is not really good with the long range attacks, the special attacks. So let's look at some moves real quick, just to get an idea on what these can do. So if we hit this, so as we see, a move is based on 4 different categories. Not categories, but 4 different things to observe. It's the type of move, the power of the move, the accuracy of the move, plus the side effect of the move. So let's look at Spark. The user attacks the target with an electrical charge tackle. This may also leave the target with paralysis. So the category, that symbol you see under category, stands for physical moves. The power is also known as the base power of the move, which is 65. So it's going to do 65 damage with Pikachu's attack stat on top of it. A move's accuracy is based on how well the move will land. So right now, we're looking at a 100% chance to hit. A lot of moves are like this, but some moves are so powerful to where the accuracy will be dropped to balance out the moves. And when we look at the paralysis statement, this move may also leave the target with paralysis. It doesn't tell you the chance, but Spark has a 10 or 15% chance to paralyze. And paralyze is one of several status conditions you can give to an opposing Pokemon in battle. There is paralysis, burn, sleep, poison, confuse, and frozen. So what paralysis does is whoever is paralyzed, their speed stat will be cut in half, making them move a lot slower. While there is a 50-50 chance on you being able to attack or not. If you cannot attack, a message will pop up on your screen saying that such and such is paralyzed, it is unable to move. Therefore, you are not able to attack, giving the opponent the chance to attack more. Burn does something completely different. Instead of the speed stat getting cut in half, your attack stat is cut in half, while also giving residual damage after every turn. Sleep, you just cannot attack at all. And you have a 50-50 chance on waking up. Whereas if you wake up, you're able to use your move right away. But if you cannot wake up, the message will pop up saying the such and such Pokemon is asleep. There's two different types of poison. There is regular poison and badly poisoned. Regular poison will just slowly chip away at your hit points, but badly poison, I'm gonna say exponentially, takes away hit points. So badly poison, one turn you lose 5, the next turn you lose 10, the next turn you lose 15 hit points, the next turn, it just keeps going, so you're losing more health each turn. Frozen is the same as sleep, where you would have to thaw out instead of wake up. Otherwise, you cannot attack. Paralyzed, burn, poison, sleep, frozen. So that leaves us with confused. So the confused stat doesn't really have an icon like the other ones do, and you'll see the icon, they're very noticeable. But so what confused does is if you are the confused Pokemon, you have a 50-50 chance on doing your attack. The other 50% goes to hurting yourself in confusion, and that damage is based on your attack stat and your defense stat. So if Pikachu was confused and it were to hit itself, it's using its own attack stat against its own defense, and whatever difference that will be is how much percentage you will be losing of your health. So that is the status conditions. But going back to the moves, Growl is considered a status move. As you see, half white circle, half dark circle. So a status move has no base power at all. and we see that it is 100% accurate for growl. So the user growls in an enduring way, making the opponent less weighty. This lowers their attack stat. So something with the stats. Each stat you see here, except for the hit points, can go up to 6 bars. So 2 bars of attack stat, your attack is doubled. If you go up another 2 bars for your known as +4, your physical attacks will do quadruple damage. And if you go to 6 bars, you'll be whatever that is, but that is the max you can go with it. So we would lower the attack stat by 1 bar. Now Thunderbolt is different from Spark, as we can see with differences here, where this category is special. So we would be using our special attack. The base power is 90, so it's stronger, but luckily the accuracy is still 100. And it also has the same chance of paralyzing the opponent. Now this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So Double Team is a status move. So by rapidly moving, the user makes illusionary copies of itself to boost the evasion. So evasion is a hidden stat. Evasion and accuracy are hidden stats in Pokemon, where it's automatically 100 for both. However, with this move, we increased our evasion by 1 stat. So if we have higher evasion, the likelihood of the Pokemon hitting us is lower. If we have lower evasion, we're more likely to be hit. And the same goes for the accuracy. If we have higher accuracy, we are gonna hit everything. We have a better chance on attacking with moves that have low accuracy. If we have higher accuracy of Pokemon, the moves that have low accuracy will hit more often. But if we have low accuracy, the moves that say 100% guarantee is actually now closer to 90% guarantee. So that's just a lot of little information to take in, but once you concept that little bit, everything just gets so much smoother. And we can look at Spite Ops here, same thing. We see the stats, we see the moves where Sticky Web is a status move where if a Pokemon comes out to the battlefield, their speed stat's lower. A physical move that's base 70, that has a chance to lower the opponent's special attack stat, but it's a 90% chance to hit. So if we have lower accuracy, so if we go down 1 stat of accuracy, this move is now at 80% guaranteed to hit instead of 90. Then we have Bug Bite, which is a physical move, base power 60. We'll get into items in a second. But, oh, sorry, don't turn move. And then Silk Trap. What was Sticky Web? Oh, I got Silk Trap and Sticky Web mixed up. Sticky Web prevents, oh no, they're the same thing. But, like, well, almost same thing, just slight differences, but we can go to Gengar, who has amazing special attack, but not that good defense, very fast as we can compare to the other two. We look at the moves, we got Giga Drain, where we get hit points back if we land the attack. It's a special move, guaranteed to hit every time with 100% accuracy. Perish Song, where in 3 turns everyone that's on the field is fainted. A special move, Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb. You see what these effects do. Now each of these moves has a, like you see like the 10, the 5, the 15, the 10. That's how many times you can use the move in battle. So you see 5 here. If you use all 5 and this number is now at 0, you can no longer use Perish Song. If this says 0 out of 15, you can no longer use Shadow Ball, and so forth. If all your moves say 0, you use the hidden move called Struggle. And even though it's a guaranteed move and it has no accuracy or anything like that, you don't want to do it, because Struggle will give you what's known as recoil damage. So you will hit the opponent, but you will take damage as well. But Struggle, you lose like 1/3 damage. Like you lose 1/3 of your health, while when you attack the opponent, they lost 1/8. So you do not want to depend on Struggle. It is just there so you can have something to use as an attack in case you run out of moves. And again, we got this combo and these moves. Like, all these moves explain things. So then, the next statistic we'll go over is the abilities. So let's see what this says. Cursed Body. So Cursed Body, it may disable a move that has dealt damage to the Pokemon. So that means if something hits us, there's a chance we can block them from using that move again. So if this Pokemon, called Annihilate, were to use Shadow Punch on Gengar, Gengar's ability would activate, and now Annihilate could no longer use Shadow Punch for so many turns in a row. So you would be locked out of a move. So you would be forced to use any of your other moves. And then we have Annihilate's ability, Inner Focus. Focus to where it says this Pokemon prevents it from flinching or being affected by Intimidate, which Intimidate is an ability to where if the Pokemon with Intimidate is sent out, all the opponent's attack stats lowered by 1. So what Inner Focus does is, and what flinch is first off, is flinch can only happen with certain requirements, but it stops you from attacking for that turn. So what Inner Focus is this Pokemon can never be flinched, and you cannot lower its attack stat by the ability of Intimidate. And these are just some of the examples of what these Pokemon can have, because some Pokemon can have an option of 2 to 3 abilities, and only a very select few only get 1 ability. I don't know what the abilities are off the top of my head, but it's all about like figuring out what you can do with them. So that is where abilities come in. We can go back to here. Insomnia, this Pokemon cannot go to sleep. And then Static, if you use a physical move on this thing, there's a chance we could paralyze you. So the next thing to go over is a very key one, known as the held item. This is more so for your competitiveness, but each held item is just, it's good in their own right. So we have Sylveon here with the Fairy E, if you will, with the item leftovers. All of them start with the same sentence, an item to be held by a Pokemon. So leftovers. So the holder's HP is slowly but steadily restored throughout the battle. So what that means is that after each turn, Sylveon gets a little bit of its hit points back if it is not at the 159. So Sylveon is here to last in the battle with this set with Cute Charm, which Infatuation is another statistic, another hidden status. So Infatuation only works when it's male against female, and there's 3 different quote-unquote genders for Pokemon. There's male, female, and neutral. Do we have a neutral one here? Yes. So if you look next to Sylveon's name, if you go to the the right, you'll see a blue circle. That means male. Male. And then you see here with Gengar, it's female. Spidops is female. Pikachu is female. If nothing is here, then that means that it has no gender, so it's neutral. So if a female Pokemon makes physical contact with Sylveon, that means there's a chance it could be infatuated, which is a 50-50 chance on making your next move work. Regardless of who you're targeting, if it's quote-unquote in love or infatuated, then that means there's a chance it won't hit until this Pokemon Sylveon is off the field. Once Sylveon is no longer on the field, the infatuation wears off automatically. And we can see here what the moves do. Chance to lower special attack. We raise our special attack, special defense. The following turn, whoever we use the Yawn on goes to sleep, and chance to lower the target's special defense. You see the stats, the strength, but again with leftovers, even if they attack us, we'll get our health back. Now, not all items would be useful, because here we have Rotom. Well, look at these other bit held items too. The Expert Belt. If a move is super effective, the move gets boosted. And that's another thing we need to talk about moves with, that I forgot to mention, I apologize. If we use an attack that's the same type as ours, it'll get a same type attack boost, also known as stab. So with Pikachu being an electric type, Spark and Thunderball are going to do a lot more damage. Spidops being Bug, these moves are going to do damage. But then you have Gengar, who's a Ghost Poison type, even though he has a Grass type move. So even though we'll get health back with that move, because as you see, the damage we give out, we get half those hit points in our own HP. With us not being a Grass type, we're not getting as much damage out of it as we could if we were Grass type. And then even Sylveon with Shadow Ball, we're not a Ghost type, so Shadow Ball's not going to do as much damage as you would hope compared to Moonblast, which is a Fairy type like Sylveon. So with the Expert Belt, moves that would be super effective are going to be even better. Spidops with the Rocky Helmet, if you attack it with a physical move, whoever attacks Spidops holding this item is going to take residual damage from that. Now, Gengar with the Life Orb. Also, It boosts the power of the user's move, but the holder also loses a small amount of HP as the move lands. So if we attack, Life Orb is going to boost our damage, but we have to give some of our hit points back. So we lose hit points for each move we use, but our moves are stronger. The King's Rock, where if we attack a Pokemon, there's a 10% chance we can flinch them. Sylveon to leftovers, but again, not all health items can be useful. Because again, we look at Rotom here. Rotom, there's 6 forms of Rotom with different types, but this is called Rotom Fan, where it is the electric flying type. Electric flying. And we have, you can read the moves, we got Confuse Ray, Charge, Electric Ball, Air Slash. Make you see what these moves do. And then you see our stat, Levitate. So Levitate, we cannot be hit by ground type moves. Now what makes Rotom worse, or Rotom Fan I should say, is flying types, and we go back to this type chart. Flying types cannot be hit by ground type moves. Now Rotom's other forms are not flying type, so it's useful to those per se, but we are double immune to ground type moves. Now let's read the air balloons. Item to be held by balloon. These balloons make the holder float in the air. If the holder is hit with an attack, the balloons will burst. So if we're floating in the air, we cannot be hit by ground type moves until we get hit by a move. Then we cannot be hit by ground. So if something attacks us with Rock Throw, a base damage rock type attack, the air balloons will pop, and now we are no longer immune to ground from air balloon. However, we are already immune because of flying type and levitate. So it's all based on how you want your Pokemon to be built like. But hopefully that gives you an idea on what Pokemon is. Because you can build them in any way. Because we can even mess with Gengar stats for a second. So let's go into the bag. And let's see. We can give Gengar Scary Face to lower the opponent's speed. We can protect ourselves for 1 to 2, maybe 3 turns. The more you use Protect, the lower chance you have of using it. We can also use Acid Spray, which would harshly lower a target's special defense, means we lower it by 2 bars instead of 1. So you can lower it faster with Acid Spray. We can learn Confuse Ray. We can learn Thief, which would take the opponent's held item if we are holding them. There's so many different ways you can make your Pokemon as far as what they're called as builds. You can use any move they can learn, and it's just all in preference. But hopefully that helped you understand Pokemon a little bit more, because once you learn one of those things very easily, you'll have so much fun with the game, where you'll know what you're doing, and now you can actually become the Pokemon master.